So welcome to first video. You might have watched the background video first, in which case in a sense it's the second, but it's kind of first getting into the topic of putting the magic back into your business. So probably ought to just start by talking a little bit about what I mean by magic, because it's a much used word. And I think what I mean by that today is quite simple, really. For me, magic is an openness to things happening that we just can't explain. And it's usually cool stuff, actually. So that's what it is for me. It's in our sort of rational, logical world, we believe we're controlling, influencing, grinding and working hard and trying to make everything happen and whatever. And really magic is the opposite of that. And I'm not saying that's wrong at all, but it's just the opposite for me. It's much more, it's much softer, it's much gentler, it's much more, if you like, heart created, where there can be all sorts of uncertainty around it. It's really interesting exploring this during this explanation. There can be all sorts of uncertainty. It's not the end of that, but there's an innocence about it. I was going to say a non-attachment, but I can sense attachment, so I'm not going to say that. I think I'm attached to most things I do, really. I guess sometimes there's non-attachment, but that's not the case here. This is exciting attachment. This is like, ooh, this is fresh, this is new, this is cool. What am I creating? What's going to come out of these lips next? Wow. And that for me is the magic, actually. Yeah, that's it. It's like, it's this openness to be lived, if you like. And to find your own exploration and find your own way. And that's so exciting. Like for me, magic is like the vitality of life, the expression of life just living. And it can cause shockwaves and all sorts of disruptions and whatever. So that's for me what magic is. It really is the unknown, the not knowing. It's that land, which is just so fertile. It's just so rich, and without that, in our lives, in our business, I think it just becomes mundane and stale, and we start listening to what other people say all the time and thinking that methodologies are real and they work and we have to follow them, and we get out of tune with our own like innate passion and desire to do stuff in the world. So that's what magic is for me. So the question is very simple, because I can see that I might have been trying to convince myself that I was open to it. But I think I'd kind of turned away from it, really. I think I'd sold out and decided that it was all very linear and very logical, and I had to be super clever about everything and not wear my pajama top for a video and not drink coffee and everything had to be scripted and professional and all that. All the things I don't particularly like, actually, I found myself doing. So this is something much, much simpler. And so I would say for me now, there seems to be much more of an openness to magic, much more of an openness to doing the things the way I'd like to do them and putting things out like spontaneously and creatively and just picking up that energy of life and letting it run with you. And so the reflection for today, I thought it might be useful to have a reflection. Maybe some days there'll be some action as well. But the reflection today is to really, really reflect hard. How open are you to magic in your life? So are you factoring it in? That's what I'm saying. Yeah, cool. Are you factoring it in as a possibility? So are you making space for it? Like how much space? How much space could you make? How much space feels like so risky it's untrue? Like off the scale of gambling almost. It's like how much can you leave to magic before it just becomes too uncomfortable? And just to gently and softly explore that. Because the mind has real difficulty gripping in that area. Like it can't grip on with its story of why it's all wrong and how we've lost our mojo and all that. It can't. It doesn't belong in that area. It's useful for other stuff, just not for that. So that's the reflection for today, is how open can you be to this infinite potential living you and creating absolute amazing stuff you couldn't imagine. So let me know how that sits. Let me know what comes up for you over the course of the 12 days. And I'll see you on video 2.